Yumenglong. His death had already been announced. Beijing awoke that morning to chaos. Not the ordinary chaos of traffic or construction, but a storm that erupted across every screen, every phone, and every conversation. The death of Menglong, the actor whose name had once brought smiles to millions, was not just reported, it had already been announced, days before the tragic night that shocked the nation. The realization sent shivers down the spines of fans, journalists, and even the most seasoned media analysts. Someone had known before anyone else that Menglong would die. The first whispers came from the shadows of Weibo and Douyin. Anonymous posts surfaced with chilling precision, claiming knowledge of Menglong's death hours before it happened. Screenshots appeared showing news articles and notifications time-stamped earlier than the incident. The post simply read, "Yumenglong's time is over. It is coming tonight." At first, many assumed it was a cruel hoax, the usual internet misinformation spreading like wildfire. But as more evidence emerged, the storm of suspicion grew unstoppable. Inside his apartment, Du Chong, Yumenglong's manager, paced nervously. He had long suspected that his client's life had been under surveillance, but the new revelations escalated his fear. If Yu's death had been anticipated, predicted, even announced, then this was no ordinary tragedy. It was orchestrated, calculated, unimaginably precise. The files you had left behind, the encrypted USB hidden under the couch cushion, suddenly carried a weight far heavier than before. The apartment itself seemed haunted that night. Shadows stretched along the walls, cast by the flickering neon lights outside. The faint scent of vanilla incense mingled with something metallic, a subtle reminder of the danger Yu had sensed in his final days. On the coffee table, his laptop glowed dimly, displaying the latest messages he had left, warnings encrypted in a code only Du Chong understood. One message read simply, "They know. It's too late for me, but you must survive." As Du Chong replayed the files, he discovered something even more disturbing. Hidden in Menglong's personal videos was footage of an anonymous meeting, Yu speaking quietly to someone off-camera about threats he could not ignore. "They are watching every step," Yu said, his voice trembling. "Even my closest friends may not be safe. I've documented everything, and if anything happens to me, someone must continue." Meanwhile, the internet was exploding. Fans pieced together the timeline of Menglong's final day, cross-referencing posts, leaked CCTV frames, and eyewitness accounts. They noticed anomalies in the footage, unmarked black cars parked in unusual locations, blurred figures moving with unnatural precision, and digital glitches in several frames of video that suggested deliberate tampering. Every detail seemed to point toward a terrifying conclusion. Menglong's death had not been a random accident. Someone or something had known it would happen and had ensured it would unfold exactly as planned. The most alarming evidence came from a leaked notification that appeared on Menglong's phone just hours before his death. The message was anonymous, yet unmistakably ominous. "Tonight will be the end. Trust no one." Forensic analysts confirmed the timestamp. It was sent well before the reported incident. Whoever had sent it had intimate knowledge of Menglong's movements, schedules, and final destinations. The implications were terrifying. Someone had not only predicted his death, they had orchestrated it. Du Chong felt the walls closing in. He wasn't just mourning the loss of a friend. He was now guarding the evidence that could expose the forces behind the tragedy. Every sound outside his apartment, a footstep on the fire escape, a car engine idling in the alley, made him flinch. He had long feared for his life, but now he understood the full scope of the danger. Menglong had been marked, and the same eyes that had watched him could easily turn toward Du Chong next. The leaked footage revealed more. Menglong had been documenting every unusual event, every encounter with suspicious figures, and every threatening message. The files included images of strangers loitering near his apartment, black SUVs parked without drivers, and phone calls intercepted with chilling clarity. In one clip, Yu held the camera toward a shadow in the distance. "They are coming," he whispered. "I don't know when, but they will not stop." Online, the debate raged. Was Menglong a victim of circumstance, or was his death a high-level assassination? Fans posted theories connecting his final hours to other unsolved celebrity deaths, suggesting a pattern that was impossible to ignore. The internet became a hive of speculation, with millions of digital detectives piecing together what they saw as a sinister puzzle. Every CCTV frame, every social media post, every anonymous tip was dissected, debated, and analyzed. The most shocking revelation came when someone unearthed a set of previously deleted posts from Menglong himself. They hinted at knowledge of powerful figures who could manipulate events behind the scenes. One line read, "Some secrets are too dangerous, even for me. If I disappear, know that they are coming for the truth." The posts, now viral, intensified the public frenzy. Netizens demanded answers, questioning whether his death had been not just foretold, but carefully engineered to prevent him from revealing what he knew. Even traditional media could not ignore the storm. Headlines ran across newspapers, television screens, and news apps. Death foretold? The mystery of Yumenglong's final hours, and was it accident or assassination? The files left behind. The narrative had shifted from mourning to investigation. Yumenglong's story was no longer just a tragic celebrity death. It had become a national conversation about surveillance, power, and secrets too dangerous to expose. Du Chong, meanwhile, had taken the USB files and hidden them in a secure location, but he knew it was only a matter of time before the orchestrators realized they existed. He couldn't trust the authorities, nor could he trust anyone in the entertainment industry. Yumenglong's death had already been announced before it happened. Someone had predicted it, and they were likely watching the evidence now. Every step he took had to be calculated, every movement precise. Du Chong had not slept in 2 days. The apartment that once held Yumenglong's laughter now felt like a tomb. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant siren, every flicker of the neon lights outside made his pulse spike. The pre-announcement of Yumenglong's death haunted him. Someone had known. Someone had orchestrated the timing. And that someone could still be watching. He paced the living room, glancing repeatedly at the laptop. The encrypted files on the USB seemed almost alive, pulsing with danger. Each video, each document, each message left by you was a piece of a puzzle, but the edges were jagged, incomplete, and terrifying. One file contained a video of Menglong alone, whispering into the camera, "If anything happens to me, they are already controlling everything. Watch the dates, watch the times, they know, and they are precise." Du Chong rewound the footage frame by frame. His eyes caught something he hadn't noticed before, a shadow slipping past the window behind you, moving with deliberate stealth. The timestamp on the video corresponded exactly to when an anonymous notification had appeared online, announcing you's death hours before it actually occurred. Someone had been there, someone had filmed him, and someone had ensured the world would see his death as inevitable before it even happened. The thought made Du Chong shiver. If Yumenglong's death had been predicted, then the perpetrator wasn't just lucky. They were meticulous, patient, and terrifyingly skilled. He remembered the envelope you had left in the apartment that night, the one labeled simply Truth. Inside had been the USB, his journals, and notes with names and dates. Every word Menglong wrote now seemed like a countdown, a warning to anyone who dared follow in his footsteps. Du Chong switched to another file, a series of screenshots from Yu's encrypted messaging app. The texts were fragmented but chilling. One read, "They know I've been tracking them. They know the patterns. If I disappear tonight, the files must survive." Another read, "Even friends may be compromised. I can see them, always in the shadows." Du Chong swallowed hard. The actor had not only anticipated threats but had predicted betrayal from the closest people in his circle. Outside the apartment, Beijing's streets seemed calm, but Du Chong knew better. He could almost feel the presence of watchers, the unmarked black SUVs that appeared too frequently, the shadows that moved with precision, and the soft hum of engines idling too close. He kept glancing toward the window, half expecting someone to appear, someone who already knew Yu's fate before the world did. He opened a new video file. Yumenglong sat at his desk, the camera angled slightly, capturing more than just his face. Behind him, a figure appeared in the doorway, a fleeting silhouette that you never acknowledged. The footage froze for a fraction of a second, and in that instant, Du Chong's stomach dropped. Whoever had been there had been silent, careful, and deliberate. They had known Yumenglong's schedule, his movements, and most importantly, the exact moment to strike. A sudden ping on the laptop made him jump. A new message appeared on the screen from an unknown sender. "You have the files." Do you understand what that means? Du Chong's hands trembled. Someone had been monitoring him, tracking his every move, knowing that he now held the key to what Menglong had uncovered. The pre-announcement of Yu's death had been a demonstration of control, a warning that the same precision could be applied to anyone who dared investigate. He leaned back, trying to piece together the terrifying puzzle. Yumenglong had left breadcrumbs deliberately. Each message, each file, each warning leading to the conclusion that someone powerful had orchestrated events with almost surgical precision. But why announce the death before it happened? The pre-announcement was more than knowledge. It was a declaration. Whoever had predicted it wanted the world and Menglong to understand that they controlled the narrative, the timing, and the outcome. Du Chong replayed a voice memo you had left. His voice was low, trembling, urgent. "I know they are watching. I know they will announce it before it happens. It's a message, a demonstration of power. Du Chong, if you find this, protect the files. Don't trust anyone, not even those who claim to be allies." The apartment seemed to grow colder as he listened. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him like a physical force. Every second that passed increased the danger. Every moment the USB remained in his possession, he risked exposure, betrayal, or worse. And the knowledge that Yumenglong's death had been announced before the world knew it happened made the threat feel omnipresent, inescapable. Du Chong turned to another video, one he had avoided earlier. It showed Yumenglong walking down a dark alley, glancing over his shoulder repeatedly. The angle suggested surveillance, as if someone had been recording him for hours, anticipating his route, predicting his actions. In the footage, a black SUV moved silently, almost imperceptibly, parallel to him. At the time, it seemed like ordinary city traffic, but in context it was chilling. Someone had tracked him with precision, had studied his movements, and had orchestrated a situation in which the world would already know the outcome before it occurred. Every sound in the apartment seemed amplified. The hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the wall clock, even the faint creak of the floorboards felt threatening. Du Chong realized he could no longer trust the apartment, the city, or anyone he knew. The pre-announcement was proof. The forces behind Yumenglong's death were patient, meticulous, and still in control. They had predicted every step, every message, every reaction. He flipped through the digital notes you had left. One phrase repeated again and again. "They are precise. They know timing. They will announce it before it happens." Du Chong shivered. It was not only a warning, it was almost taunting. Someone had demonstrated control over life, death, and information itself. They had foreseen Yumenglong's fate and announced it, creating a narrative that the world would believe even before it happened. Finally, Du Chong knew what he had to do. The files, the USB, the encrypted messages, they had to survive. Yumenglong's warnings, his predictions, his careful documentation, they were a roadmap to the truth. But moving them safely meant entering a world where shadows moved faster than light, where the pre-announcement was just the beginning, and where one wrong step could be fatal. The city outside remained oblivious. Neon signs flickered, the hum of engines filled the night, and ordinary life carried on. But Du Chong knew the truth. Yumenglong's death had already been announced for a reason. Someone powerful had predicted it. Someone had controlled it. And the world, now aware of the pre-announcement, could only watch as the shadows continued their work in silence. Clutching the USB, Du Chong whispered a vow. The truth will not be buried. Yumenglong's voice will be heard. Whoever predicted this, whoever announced it, will not control the story forever. But even as he spoke, he felt it. A presence at the edge of the room, a shadow moving too deliberately to be coincidence. The pre-announcement had been only the first message. The real game, the real danger, was just beginning.